Hello everyone, today you are going to learn how to create a sign-up form in PHP. My name is Diogo Veigas and watch it till the end so you don't keep pausing the video to search where your error was. So the first thing that I'm going to show you guys is the index.html. I've already opened my shump and activated both Apache and MySQL. And here's our login. How we left it the last time we has been here. The thing that I want to show you guys is that this HTML is going to stop being HTML because we are going to do the same in signup. If you didn't see the signup video for PHP, I recommend you to do so because it has a lot of really good information. And you don't want to do login if you can't do signup, alright? Now we are going to rename it and change to PHP. And with the PHP we are going to leave the form here. I'm not going to touch it. And we are going to go some enters. And you're going to start coding in here. The first thing, as always, should be opening the PHP itself. After this, we are going to link something up. Require wants the connection.php. Why is that? Because every time you're going to make some connection, we are going to ask for this file. If you didn't watch the sign up video, I'm going to briefly talk about it. The first and the only thing that you need to pay attention is copy and paste all of this. Of course, you don't need the comments. And pay attention to this name. To the database name, it should be different for you. So pay attention and care to change it in here. Yes, these define are just defining some global variables, and this link is just try to link it up. And if it doesn't work, we just say that it couldn't connect due to an error. And the error being explicit in here. Now, we are going to assign all the variables that we are going to use to empty. Both the username and the password, which are going to be given to us through the form, and the errors going to be empty, so you can check if they are empty or not in future validations. Only then we are going to check the form was submitted through a post method, just to check if he clicked in the submit, okay? And then we are going to do some silly validation, which is if the username is introduced or not, if it's empty or not. And it should not be empty because of our really good bootstrap that also makes that validation in real time. But yes, just to make sure, it's really good to make this. And we are going to do the same with the password. Yes, and if you don't understand this, I'm going to explain you as well, because if you didn't watch the sign up video, you probably don't know what's this empty. This is a function just to check if it is empty or not. And this trim. The trim just removes every blank spaces from the left and from the right of the text, before and after. And if it is really empty after the trimming, because if imagine that he puts a space, which is not going to be valid, so here we go. And the password is just the same. You don't need to worry too much about it. Now we are going to start validating the credentials. I'm going to close this up so you don't get confused. The first thing that you might not know what it is, it's empty, which I have already explained to you. So, if both errors are empty, if he wrote the both and submit the both password and username, we are going to continue. Then we are going to start the statement. And the statement is simply checking for the ID, the username and the password from the users, where the username is equals to question mark. What is it? We are going to receive the only needed information to make a login, where the username it's like the one he put. We are not checking if the username and the password is equal right from the beginning because we need to make some verification before. So just stick with me and let's understand it. After this if, we are going to create another if, and we are going to use this if just to prepare the statement and also check if it is good or not. Firstly, we are going to prepare the statement. If it were good, we are going to start binding it up. The statement, which is this variable here, which is going to be the variable where we are going to prepare the statement. The s, we check the number of question marks that we have, the parameters that we are going to reassign, and the parameter username. We don't put it raw in here because it's safer and less longer due to the PHP updates. As I've previously said, here's the parameter username, where you could see in here. If the username is alright, we are going to trim it and assign to username. And we are also opening another if condition and check if the execute is working or not. Because if the execute doesn't work, we can right away tell the user what to do. If it was alright, we are going to store all the results of the statement into this statement variable, because otherwise it would not stay in there after closing the stuff up. Now we are going to check if the username exists. just as you can see in the comment. But how is this going to work? We are simply going to get all... Wait, where's the error? It's here, the error. Yeah, don't bother about it. Exactly, it's here. Okay, so we are going to check how many rows this statement has, because we've received not 3 variables, but an object with multiple rows, and inside each row it is going to have the ID, the username, and the password. But if there's only one, not more than not less, we only have one account with each username. You cannot have multiple accounts with the same username. Nor we can have 0, because if there's 0, the person doesn't have an account with this username. It's pretty simple to understand, right? Then we are going to bind the result variables. To bind them, we are going to bind them to the statement. So the statement is going to only have these 3 variables, the ID, the username, and the hashed password. Not password, because we are going to hash it in the future. We are going to create another validation, which is going to be if we could fetch it, the statement, if we could retrieve the data from the statement bind. Finally, we are going to check if the password verify password hashed is going to be okay. If you don't know what it is, I can put my mouse over here, you can pause and read, or I can even tell you guys. Password, it's the password that the user introduced. The hashed password is going to be a password that came from the database, okay, and it was previously hashed in the sign-up. Here, the parameter password is going to be equals to the hashing of this password using the password default hashing method. And with this, we are going to simply check if the hashed version of the password that the user introduced is equals to the hashed password that the user introduced to create the account. Then if everything went right up to here, we're not going to validate it anymore. We are going to start the session, and we are going to start storing stuff inside the session. In these 3 variable sessions, there is one thing really important, one thing really good to have, and a third thing that it's not really needed, but we are going to put it. The most needed, it's the ID, because we are going to need to use the ID for a lot of things in the future, such as validations and reset passwords and etc. The username, just to know the name of the username for some silly things like hello and the username name. And the logged in, it's just to say if it's logged in or not. We could simply check if the ID is empty or null, but we can have this as well because it's more understandable. Another thing that you could also have, it's like a role. And the role is going to be given through the select to see if it's a client or an administrator. I'm not going to do it right away, so in a future video I might teach you guys how to do it. Now we are going to check if the password was really good or not. If the password was valid, okay. If it was not valid, we are going to say that invalid username or password. As I'm saying here, we could show a generic message, but if you really want to be a nice person, you could simply put invalid password. Or it is even better to debug your own code before putting it in production. We are going to do the same to the username, which is here, the number of columns, the number of rows, because if there's no row, it's because you did not found any account with this username. Now reaching to an end, we are going to say that something went wrong. If this did not work, this statement is SQL prepare. There's an error in here, it's probably because of your database connection, okay? It's because it's not so well configured. You may have to pay attention to it, to the connection. Almost finishing it up, we are going to close the statement. We are also going to close the connection, which is through the link, through the connection. Now the login should be already working. We are going to try it out. PHP. Now we are going to try to go to the sign up to create a brand new account, and it's going to have the account, the username test.com. Password is going to be test123, just to see. Okay, here we are going to submit it, and we are going to the index.html. We are going to need to update it to the PHP, and here we are going to email address. We are going to put here it says email, but we are going to use the user name. We are going to change it right away. Firstly, we are going to go to the sign up, and we are going to search for the HTML is going to be PHP, so we do not forget this. And we are going to search for this exactly. We are going to change it from type email type name, not name but text. We are going to change also this text because we are not going to use the email, and I think that is going to work. Let's go again with this change of really fast stuff. Email address, it looks kind of simple now, but we are going to change it anyways because I'm pretty sure that this is going to give us a lot of errors. Now I'm going to test if this is going to work or not. This is not giving any error at all. I hope that it was going to give an error, but it didn't. So I'm going to start changing things up. First thing that you need to change, as I mentioned it in the last video, it's about the name. The name is going to be like the name of the variable that you are going to set for each input of your form. And with this you are going to put something like username, and in here you are going to also use the name, password. Now it should be working right away, even without any validations. This is not still working. Why? Because we are using a form, and the default method is going to be the get. With this being get and without being to the same document, this is not going to work at all, because we can even see the user data. So we are going to change it also. We are going to put here the method of post, and we are going to put PHP equal HTML special characters, so we can use the PHP code, we can use PHP stuff, right? With the equal, which is going to print the text to our HTML, and it is going to work as something wrote by us. We are going to keep the special characters, so they don't translate into some hackings, if you know what I mean, and the server PHP self to go to himself. Another nice thing to do is inside the card body, but before the form, we are going to put this PHP code, which is simply going to be like a pop-up message, which is going to give us the login error, such as login or username or password not work. And this alert danger is from the bootstrap. The alert is going to be the pop-up. Alert danger is just setting the color. Now we are going to do something that we've made last video as well. In the class, we are going to copy this all. We are going to equal the is invalid in case that the username has an error, and we are going to equal the username itself so we can see the username that's not right. In the password as well, but we are not going to print it again because we don't want to put the password it points, and he's not going to know, so it doesn't matter, okay? And I'm going to put some spans as the sign up as well, going to give us the error of each individual input. There you go. Now the one to keep logged in should not be required, as we talked previously, because he is not always wanting to be logged in. And no, we didn't make a feature for this. If you want this, I can make a video about it later, because it would be a really great feature, but it would require a great amount of time and smartness. And lastly, I'm going to update this up. Instead of having all of this in an anchor, we're going to put all of this in a paragraph and only the sign up now in a href. Now it should be working. We are going to remove this app. So we are going to put again the test 1 2 3 and submit. Yes, we got to the welcome. Now let me just do something in here. Exactly, I'm going to put MB. Yes, after the submit, I'm going to put some margin bottom of 2. Okay, now it's not so linked up. And if you don't want this, you could also, instead of put a P, put a span. And now the space that it has down here, it's bigger, okay? The sign up, you could also put a space in here. If it is not good yet, you could go to the sign up, that I did it in the sign up as well. And you can put something like this, the and BSP, semicolon. You could put this in here, so it is going to apply the space, the white space that you want. Now that the login is already working, we are going to try to reach welcome page. And right before moving to the welcome page that I've just created here, but it's still blank, I've remembered of something really important. Instead of these required ones being the first thing, it's going to be the session start, and we are in this. Why is this? Because we want to check if you are logged in or not. Do you remember this variable that I've put here, down here, if it's logged in or not? If it is, we are going to send automatically anyone to the welcome.php. The welcome page is not set, so we're going to create it now. We're going to create in here the proper website, new file, and welcome.php. If, even though we are logged in, you see, we are logged in, but we jump into the index and it got straight away to the welcome.php because of these cookies in here. To remove this, we are going to click here and remove. Done. Now we go back to the index and it doesn't go to the welcome page automatically. Now, since we have the welcome page.php but it's blank, it stops saying that 404 not found. Now to the welcome page, which I'm going to copy and paste it because I just stole it from somewhere else. We are going to update it in the future. It's going to open the session and check if the session was logged in or not, because we are going to have this in every single page, checking if it's logged in or not. Because if it's not logged in, we are going to send the person back. Then we are going to check if no, we are not going to check anymore. We are going to simply put the username in here. We are going to show the username, and you are going to have these two buttons, the reset password and the logout. The reset password is going to be saved to later video, and the logout is going to be made right away so you don't lose the track of it. Logout.php, and you are going to check how the welcome PHP is. It's really cool, and I'm going to repeat it again. I didn't make this. Now to reset your password. The sign up is not going to find it. What? Yes, the sign up, yes, the reset is not going to work. The sign out is going to work. The logout is going to simply be this. We're going to start the session, then we are going to unset all session variables. How? We are simply going to say that the session is equals to an array, so we don't simply need to do anything else. We are going to set the destroy. We are going to destroy the session, and we are going to go back to the index.php so you can log in again. So let's try it out. I'm going to sign out, okay, then we got here, we are going to submit, sign up, sign out again, and here we go. In this video, you learned how to create a login form in PHP. You've also learned how to create a welcome page, which didn't have anything pretty much hard. Yes, the start validations, if it was logged in or not. The logout, you learned how to work with a lot of session start variables, since setting variables, destroy the session, starting the session, assigning session variables in here. You learned how to do a lot of selects and fetching variables. The password verify with hashed passwords. You also learned how to use this alert danger, which you can obtain if you put the wrong username or your wrong password, and understand where the problem is. And you've also learned how to create a login and sign up now. I could give you certification, but I don't have one. So don't forget checking the sign up form if you didn't. I hope you guys enjoyed and see you soon.